A very good morning to my dear students. Welcome to our IP class. In the previous class, we have completed chapter 7, that is control statements, in which we discussed about decision control statements and looping statements. In decision control statement, we discussed about if else, if elif, etc. And in looping statement, we discussed for and while. And we discussed some loop control structure like break, continue and pass in the previous chapter. Today we are going to start a new chapter, that is chapter 8, which is list. We already heard the name list. When we are studying data types, we specified the name of string, list, dictionary, etc. So today, according to our syllabus, our next topic is list. So today we are going to discuss list operations. So what is a list? List means it is a collection of items. It is a grouping of items are known as list. Each item has its own index value. Index of first item will be 0 and last item will be n minus 1. So what is n? N is the number of items in a list. So if there are 5 elements in a list, the value of n will be 5, which is known as length of the list. Length means number of elements in a list. So from 0 to n minus 1, we are calculating the index of list. So first element at 0, second first, 1, third 2, fourth 3 and fifth 4. 4 means n minus 1 because n has the value of 5 if our list contains 5 elements. So this is an example for list. In list we can form a list by using a collection of elements. So there are 80, 60, 70, 85, 75. There are 5 elements. These are the elements. And this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, these all are known as index. Index starts from 0th position. That means the value 80 is stored at 0th position. 60 is stored as first position. 70 is stored at second position and so on. This is known as forward indexing. Forward indexing means first element at 0, second element at 1, up to n minus 1. N is the length of the list or number of elements of the list. So if there are 5 elements, the value of n will be 5. So the last index will be 5 minus 1, which is equal to 4. And there is a option to specify negative index too. Negative index means the list position starts from backwards. So from the last element the index starts, the index will be minus 1 at the last position. So when we are using forward index at the last position n minus 1, that means if 5 elements are there, 4 will be the index. But when we are using backward indexing, the last element at minus 1, second last element at minus 2, third last element at minus 3 and so on, first element at minus 5. So this is known as negative indexing or backward indexing. Next we can discuss how can we create a list. How can we create a list? A list can be created by using square brackets. Inside these brackets we are giving the elements which are separated by comma. For example, which is known as initializing a list. There is a difference between creating and initializing. That means when we are initializing a list, we are passing values to the list. So for example, we can give any name for a list followed by an equal to sign, which is known as assignment operator. Inside square bracket, we are giving the values. So we can give numeric values, we can give integer value, we can give string values, and also we can give the combination of these values too. That means here the combination is string English is a string, Hindi string, 1997 is integer, 2000 is integer. Like that, we can create a list. It's simple to create a list. Give any name to a list, then an assignment operator, then a square bracket, inside square bracket, values separated by comma. Then how can we create a blank list? Blank list means a list which didn't contain any elements. It's simple. We are giving a list name, then equal to sign, then simply a square bracket. So these are the creation and initializing. Then after creation and initialization, we want to access the items from a list. To access the items, we must know the index position of the list. We all know that initial position at 0 and last position will be length minus 1. So if our list is 359, then we can access the first element, that means 3, by using list of 0. Second element by list of 1, third element by list of 2. This is in the case of forward indexing. This 0, 1, 2 all are indices. 3 is at 0th index, 5 first index, 9 second index. While we are using backward index, what happen? When we are printing list of -1, 9 is printed. -2, 5 is printed and so on. So this is known as accessing elements from a list. Then next is how can we iterate or traverse through a list. Iterating means repeating. We are analyzing each value of list repeatedly. So for iteration we must use for or while loop. It is better to use for loops because it is easy. Then it is known as traversing. Traversing means traversing a list, traversing a string, traversing a dictionary, traversing a tuple. All have the same purpose. That means visiting each element of a list or tuple is known as traversing. That means if there are 1000 elements, we must visit all 1000 elements. So if you are doing like this, if we are doing like this L of 0, L of 1, it will be difficult if our list contains too many elements. So the need of iteration occurs. Iteration means repetition. So for loop is used to traverse a list. Suppose our list is 359. Then if we want to traverse a list, what is the criteria? For I in range. It is not compulsory to define 0 here. We can give simply length of list. Len of list. Len is a default function which is used to get number of elements in a list. So len of list means here it is 3. Then print list of I. What happened? Initial value of I becomes 0. List of 0 means 3 is printed. Then initial value of next value of I equal to 1. So list of 1, so 5 printed. Then list of 2, 9 printed. When reaches 3, what happened? The condition fails because here the length of a list is 3 because 3 elements are there. So condition failed, so it will be exited from the loop. So we can traverse a list by simply for loop for I in range inside bracket. Two methods are there. We can give length only and we can give initial position comma length according to our wish. Length means number of elements in a list. So this is known as traversing of a list. Next is slicing of a list. What do you mean by slicing? We all heard the term slicing, like bread slicing. What is slices? Yeah, it's pieces. So we can access the elements of list by using some slice methods by using by subparts. Subparts means parts of a list. Suppose our list is I India. Then if suppose we want to access I and N only, then it is possible by using slicing operation. Slicing operation worked in the same manner that of range function. So list of 0 colon 3, what happened at the 0th index I, first index N, second index D. Third index is omitted. Up to that index, values are extracted. So value will be I and D. Next is list of 3 colon. So in this we are giving two values, initial value and Final value is omitted. Final position is omitted. Up to the final position, the values are extracted. List of 3 colon. What happened? From third position, after colon, there are no elements. So, up to last position, all elements are accessed. So, 3 position means 0, 1, 2, 3. 3 means I. Last position is A. So, IA will be the output. Then if you are not giving any list, any index like 0 and 3, what happened? Only colon is given, then automatically it will take as first element. First position as first element, last position as last element. So all the values of the list will be printed. So this is string slicing, which is known as slicing. Like range function, we can give 2 0 colon 3 comma 2, like that we can give increment or decrement operator. Then we can, according to that, we can omit the strings alternatively, like that. So these are list slicing. Now let's do some programs based on list, some simple program, and then wind up the class. We can simply create a list by using, how can we create? We can give any name like lis equal to square bracket of 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5 comma 6, like that I created a list. So this is a list. Then if we want to access the first element of a list, how can we access the first element? We can print itself, print, then lis of 3. What will be the output? Lis of 3 means 0, 1, 2, 3. We are expecting 4 as output. To run this program, we must save the program as lis.py. We can save in desktop itself. Then after that, when we are running, what will be the output? 4, because at the third position, 0, 1, 2, 3, third position 4 is the value. Then if we want to print, we can check the negative index also. Negative index means we can print from the last element. So last element is accessed by -1. So if we are printing list of -1, what happened? We are expecting output as 6. So what? So output is 6. Okay, the output is 6. So for both 4 and 6 is printed. Then if we want to slice the list, how can we slice a list? I am using print statement because whenever I am accessing an element, I want to print at the same time itself. So that's why I am using this print statement. So if you are running this program from 1 to 4, all values will be printed. So what is the value? 1, 0, 1. It is 2 to 4. 2, 3, 4. 4 is 5. So 2, 3, 4. Index starts from 0th position. So 2, 3, 4 is printed. So this is known as slicing of a list. We can extract a subpart of the list. Then how can we access elements of a list? We can access the element of list by for I in range. We can give range function as 0, comma length. Len is a default function by which we can access the number of elements of a list. Then colon is needed, and then we want to print I. So output will be, let's check the output. The output will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All values is printed. Value is printed as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you know why? It is the index is printed here. If we want to print the element, we must use lis, list name, output like this. That means if you are accessing elements, we want to print lis of I. That means lis is the list element. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will be the output. So this is the methods we studied today. Thank you.